There are multiple methods for creating your own realistic temporary tattoo on someone's skin. The first method I'm going to show you is where you're actually hand drawing it. Now, think of your Skin Illustrator palettes. You can certainly hand paint them onto the skin if you feel confident in working with a brush. However, what we're going to use here is just a standard gray eyeliner. Now, I'm not using black because black is going to be too harsh. Gray is going to give us a light shadow that we can build on top of. This is actually just going to be used to map out where everything else is going. What I'm really going to be using is this KD151 tattoo pen. Now this is in a color called Aged Ink, which, as you know, as we've already talked about, as black ink ages, it tends to turn into more of a blue color. So this has two ends to it for freehand drawing, more of a chisel tip like that, and then the side we have over here is more of a flat brush tip. So this is how you can get freehand drawings if you need something very quick that you haven't been able to pre-plan on the fly. This is also a great thing to use if you're needing to do tattoos that look like they were done, say, in a prison or in a basement or something like that. If there's the idea of the tattoo was not done professionally, it was kind of a thrown together tattoo as the character. This is great for that because you really get that freehand idea versus something that's pre-made and stencil based. So the first thing I'm going to do here is use this pencil, and we have already sharpened this into a nice sharp edge to work off of. And I'm going to draw just very lightly where I want the shape to be on her. I'm going to do a little star under the eye area. I think that's a really kind of cute look. Turn this way a bit. So instead of the traditional teardrop tattoo, I'm just freehand drawing a little star shape in here. And remember, it doesn't need to be perfect at this point because this isn't going to be the final product we use. It certainly could be if it's all you have on hand. You could use a gray eyeliner to lightly fill something in and then tap a little bit of blue tones on top if it's what you have with you. But now that I've mapped the shape out, I'm going to take the chisel tip of this and use the sharp edge to my advantage. And just lightly tap it in there. Certain tattoos on the body will wear faster than others. That's something you should keep in mind as well. Something that's on the arms or on the leg or something that's not as exposed to the elements as much as something that would be on the hands or say the face is going to age slower than something that is on the hands or is on the face. So that's how you can also appropriately choose what colors you're going to be using for there. Something that's been sitting for quite a while is going to be much lighter in tone, much more translucent than something that's more fresh and something that's hidden more by clothing. You certainly don't need to map the shape out with the eyeliner if you feel very confident with your freehand, but I do find it very helpful to have a little map out of something so you have at least a base of where you're going on. Then also, if you make a mistake in the mapping out, the eyeliner is much easier to remove than the tattoo pen, so you can quickly remove it and then continue your drawing in without making too much of a fuss with what's already there. Now that you have the general shape, you can go ahead and fill in with a little bit more precision. Now, if you make a little mistake on the edge or you want to go in and actually clean up the edges, what you can do easily is take a bit of your 99% alcohol, because remember, this pen is an alcohol-based makeup. Take a little clean cup here, and then with a clean flat brush, a synthetic brush is preferred here for me anyways. You may prefer something natural hair, but with a flat brush, you just want to dip into that clean alcohol, and then you're going to use this sharp edge to remove and sharpen a bit. This is also a great method if you're trying to add a little bit of imperfection. I'm trying to make this tattoo look like it's not the most perfect one in the world, and it's been sitting for a bit on her. So I'm softening the edges a bit just so they look a little bit more worn into the skin as opposed to being a complete flat line. If you look at the edge of a tattoo, it can be great line work, but it's not always going to be completely soft and sharp. Typically, that's what you see when it's just done. They do tend to look like they're slightly fading into the skin a bit if you actually examine them up close. So softening the edge instead of leaving it stark and harsh like this will give a bit more of a realistic look to the tattoo. Close your eyes for me. Because this is the 99% alcohol I'm using, I had her close her eyes just so that the fumes don't irritate, since we're working so closely to the eye area. Again, that goes into keeping the actor comfortable and happy when they're in the chair. Go ahead, open your eyes now. Now, the other thing I like to do to kind of shear this out a bit is take a sponge, and we're going to rip it open a little bit like we did before. Get a bit of alcohol on it. Close your eyes again. And I'm going to tap right on top and then press. This is just going to pull a little bit of that pigment off so it looks like it's been sitting on the skin. It's much more aged at this level. So now we have the idea that this is a tattoo that she's had maybe for quite a while that's really been settled into the skin well. It's starting to lose some of its shape because it's old at this point and it's on the face, so it is very exposed to the elements. And now we have a hand-drawn freestyle tattoo. You can also use this to do some very fun little detail work. For example, say we want to add some little dots to the face here. Maybe make it seem like she has some tattoos coming down from the eyebrow. Could give her a few dots there. It's great for the hands as well, to do some tiny little detail onto the hands. Things like that. Just kind of take this and make it as your little tool that you can do freehand style things. Even if you're doing a big piece somewhere with other methods, you can use this to fill things in if you need to, things like that.